asked to do question 8d in a comment. I'd obviously just missed that when I was doing question 8 of the 2025 Higher paper. So it's continuing on this question about a game and basically somebody's score, right? And they get this attempt ID. The more times they play the game per day, they get a unique ID for each time they've played it. So the player can play the game multiple times a day. Each time they play, it creates an attempt ID using the characters before the @ in their email. So, you know, if it was like Fraser at, Gmail or whatever, then it's this bit. And then add the value of num plays. So this is the variable that's counting up how many times the game has been played that day. Function that returns a position of any characters in a string is used to implement the feature. So this function isn't getting the substring. What it's doing is getting the position of the @ and then we could use a substring to say that we'll take everything from the start to just before the @. So the function's called findCharIndex. You see I've highlighted it down here as well. So the function's called findCharIndex and it takes two parameters, a value, which it looks like is going to be the whole string, and a character, which is the character that we're looking for. It loops through, basically does a linear search, loops through the string, and if it finds each character, if it finds the one it's looking for, then it updates this position char as the index of the loop. So if it found it the first time or the second time or the third time or whatever, and then it returns that. And then line 70, set the position to return the value of findCharIndex. So we're going to call that function. So using a programming language of your choice, write code for line 70 to assign the location of the @ character in the email variable to position. So I think the wordiness of this is maybe a little bit difficult. To assign it in the email variable to position. So it's position equals, it's not email equals. You just need to read that carefully. You can see that line 70 starts off set position to. So position equals, and then we're going to call this function findCharIndex. And then two parameters. And this is like an actual or formal parameter type question, really. So the formal parameters are called value and character, but the actual parameters we're passing in don't have to have the same names. And in this case, it's the location of the @ character in the email variable, while character is the second parameter. Value, the first one, that's going to be email. And then that's going to be the character we're looking for. So it'll be email. And then speech marks for this literal value of an @. And then the second part of this question, and I've already just written in, because it's on a new page, my answer to the last part. Using a programming language of your choice, write code for line 71 to assign all the characters before the @ character, so all the characters before the position, concatenated with the value of the variable numPlays to attempt ID. So it's quite a kind of complicated sentence to read, if you like. It's more of a kind of problem solving type thing. Can you deconstruct the sentence? The code is not actually all that difficult, right? Really, it's going to be doing a substring. So attempt ID equals the whole value, that was email. So the characters before the @, so it was email, and then we want to go up as far as position. So that's my substring, and then concatenated with the value of the variable numPlays. So if I'm doing this in Python, I want to add numPlays, but of course numPlays is going to be an integer, so really I want to convert that. So numPlays. It's a little bit messy. So I've set it to attempt ID like I asked. I've got the original email. You could have gone back and used the record structure, but it said it was okay, the same as in the last part of the question, if you just use your own variable for it. So if I use email from 0 up as far as position, because that tells us how far in the @ was, and then add num place to the end of it.